everyone, I am Sarah. Welcome back to Overkill Reviews. Before we get into the review, I need to remind you that Banger is on Patreon. We are close to hitting our $5,000 mark, and if you have already donated to our cause, thank you very much. We are back on the air because of you. Today we're gonna discuss an album that you're probably really excited about, and I'm really excited about. And it's because it's a big, bouncy, epic black metal album. And it's the first studio album by this band in 9 years, and it's their 9th studio album. It is the highly anticipated new Immortal. It's called Northern Chaos Gods. It's out July 6th on Nuclear Blast. I'm gonna try to be as succinct as possible because it's Immortal. Now, some bullet point history. They're a Norwegian black metal band spearheaded by Demonaz and Abath, and they released their 1992 debut, Diabolical Full Moon Mysticism, which originally established the band. They're a little bit unlike a lot of their second wave black metal contemporaries, and that's because lyrically they are focusing on the land of Blishrak. I can't say it very well, but it's a fictional, icy, cold world that has really dominated a lot of their lyrical themes. Immortal consistently released albums throughout the 90s, and then they started running into some issues. First, they finally recruited a full-time drummer in Horg around 1996, but then Demonaz was diagnosed with severe tendinitis, and he was no longer able to play guitar live. He stayed on with the band as a lyricist and as a manager, and the lineup was very much kind of a rotating cast of people. So here's where things get really long-winded, and we're gonna just sum it up. The band broke up for a while, then they got back together. Then they released their 2009 album, All Shall Fall, which is quite damn good. Then it was revealed that they were suing each other over the rights to their name. So where does this land us in 2019? It's 2018, isn't it? Where does this land us in 2018? Well, here's the bombshell. Abath is no longer in Immortal. The band is now composed of Demonaz, who's back on guitars and singing. It's got Hoag on drums, who's been there since '96. And then on this album, they've got Peter of Hypocrisy on session bass. He has a long-standing relationship with the band, does mixing, producing, that kind of stuff, so he knows what he's doing. But that said, Abath is fucking gone. Is that a disaster? Let's talk about it. That was a stupid question to set up the album. This album is fucking awesome. Like, so good. So painfully good. It's got riffs for days. This is a very positive review. I'm actually super blown away by this record. The album's title track kicks off the album, and it immediately establishes that this is going to be a pummeling, relentless release. The first thing that you're probably gonna notice is the vocals, because Demonaz is doing vocals instead of Abath. And you know, there's different eras of Immortal that we can talk about. Obviously, in the very early days of Immortal, when Abath was singing, it was very froggy. And when he eventually went on to the style that was on At the Heart of Winter, which is widely regarded as their classic and one of the best black metal albums of all time, he got to have a bit more of a raspy, screeching style. And that's what Demonaz is doing on this record, and it really works. As these songs continue, you're really getting drawn into the atmosphere. This is big, fucking fun black metal, and it's black metal that doesn't take itself so seriously that it stops being enjoyable, which is something that a lot of black metal tends to have a problem with. Instead, you're getting sing-along choruses. The track Grim and Dark is just awesome. There's this part where it's just like, and it's over and over, and I can just imagine people at festivals are gonna be going berserk for this song because it's so much fun. You're gonna notice very early on that the band has gone back to what they do best, which is their mid to late 90s style, at least in my opinion. This really fun, big, epic sound, and not only that, but in terms of the feel, it really shares a lot with Bathory. Albums like Hammerheart, it doesn't sound the same as that, but it's got that epic feel, that kind of hypnotic, cold grimness that really pulls you in and kind of inspires you to close your eyes and sway along. So two of the highlights. The first one is Gates to Blackfish, and I really dig that track. But the closing song, Mighty Raven Dark, is the best song on the album, and I love the amount of balls that it takes to put that song last. I've already made the cognitive association that this is kind of a sister track or a heightening of the song Blackfish, Mighty Raven Dark from Battles in the North. It's got many of the similar riffs, but this version just kind of draws them out into this epic monolith. And this is actually the longest song that Immortal has ever released, which is a little shocking when you think about kind of the hypnotic presence of this album, which I'm going to keep talking about because it's my favorite Immortal record and also one of the best black metal albums of all time. But altogether, I mentioned the Bathory feel, and this song in particular just really draws me in, and I don't know what to say, guys. I'm really impressed right now. This leads us into the last thing that needs to be mentioned, and that is the production. Peter has done an excellent job with this record. He has history with the band. He's really captured that icy feel, but instead of the production being muddled, it's clean enough where you can enjoy all the individual elements, but the band doesn't lose that coldness, that otherworldly feel that they are so good at emulating. I'm supposed to talk about the worst parts, and musically, there's not really a lot to say. This is a really fun record. It's very pummeling. It's very fast. It's concise. It works great. But Abbott isn't here, and that might be a problem for you, and that's debatable because fans have identified him going in a different direction. That's up to you to decide. Personally, I'm very happy with this record. I think it's bloody magical, and I want to listen to it again as soon as I'm done this review. With Northern Chaos Gods, we get Immortal's 9th studio album, we get their first album in 9 years, and we get their first album without a Both. That's a lot to accept. But if you can wade through the drama and the bullshit and just listen to those riffs, I really think that you're going to be convinced that this is going to be one of the best releases of 2018. I'm not saying this is comparable to At the Heart of Winter, because it's not. And it's not comparable to Pure Holocaust, which is unfortunately titled but a black metal masterpiece, but in a different style of Immortal. But it does make Immortal relevant and indispensable in 2018, and that is way more than most bands could ever hope with this kind of legacy and that kind of issue to overcome. This album is great, and for all those reasons, I'm giving it 4.5 skulls out of 5 here on Overkill Reviews. It was very obvious that we were going to review the new Immortal today. It's basically the Star Wars release of the week.
I'm a Star Wars!
But there are other albums coming out this week, and we're going to tell you about them. The first one is the second album by Lucifer. They are a Swedish rock band, and their album is called Lucifer 2. It's coming out today on Century Media, and if you dig heart mixed with witchcraft, then you're really gonna dig it. Other than that, we've got Bong Ripper. They're putting out their new album, Terminal. They're an instrumental, kind of progressive, heavy sludge band, and they're releasing the album via their own imprint called The Great Barrier Record. Of course, before we leave, we gotta give a special shout out to all the BangerTV patrons. Watch for your name in the credits, and if you haven't donated yet, your name could be there too. Have a good one.